Thank you for having me here today. I'll be honest with you, I'm used to talking to old men in suits. I haven't done a university talk yet. I'm quite looking forward to it and good to get some feedback after the session. It's a fairly informal session. If we want to interact, I'm happy to interact. If you guys want more information on certain areas, I think there's a 5-minute Q&A. Look, in terms of what's happening in the crypto space, generally speaking, there's a lot of activity. A lot of it's confidential. So what we're seeing now is we're moving away now from a you guys probably bought some Bitcoin, a bit of Dash, a bit of Monero, a bit of obscure tokens. We're moving away from the Wild West. Now we're going into the institutions. So what we're seeing now in the market is that institutions are looking to adopt, and they're getting serious. We recently did a survey at Capco, and a lot of institutions we surveyed, they've all got crypto working groups, they've all got digital asset working groups, they're all working on blockchain projects. I think I have 20 minutes. We're going to jump into the first slide, which is technology and crypto. So I've just given you a quick background on crypto, but what's really, really important today, and what's important, you're probably going to forget everything I say, because it's the first session. But if there's one lesson you need to take home with you, it's this one. See, technology should solve a problem for someone. I was at Oxford Business School in May last year, and a room very similar to this, packed full of people. All the noise, all the billions of pounds spent on projects. It all comes back to this. Why are we doing this? What's the reason? We must be solving a problem. Why are we doing digital assets? Why are we doing crypto? Why are we doing blockchain? You need to be solving a business problem. I have clients come to me, they don't understand their problem. They can't tell me their problem in one statement. You need to have that pyramid approach where you have that problem statement at the top, and it shouldn't be more than one sentence. I don't know if you can have the detail, but if you can't tell me that one sentence, or those 5 words or less, you don't understand your problem. So forget about all the technology you're trying to solve. If you don't understand the problem, you don't know how to apply that technology, okay? Very, very important lesson. I'll probably come back to this slide at the end. Problems we're seeing in crypto. It's an immature market. Bitcoin is 10 years old. We still don't know who founded it, or a group of people who founded it. I think for now to move from the Wild West into the institution, we have to solve the regulatory problems. The FCA, the UK Task Force, issuing policy statement this summer. We still have digital custody risks. So digital custody is how you store your physical assets, where you store them, how safe are they insured, how you handle them. Those are the risks that we still have. I was on the phone last night late to Canada, facilitating a call with a journalist, and Canada, it's a first world country, it's a sound democracy, etc. It's respected. It only has one regulated digital custodian. So what that means is it only has one way to store your assets in Canada, your digital assets, and that's a big problem. And if you look globally in terms of who's doing what, in terms of storage, who's regulated, who's insured, you've only got a handful. So again, the market is still very immature. Hands up, who knows what an SDO is? One person? 2 person? Okay, an SDO, to keep it simple, is a regulated token. SDO stands for Security Token Offering. So with the ICOs and the Wild West, we're now moving from ICOs to SDOs. ICOs are a way to raise funding for a blockchain project. Now it's all going to be about SDOs. So just to give you an idea, SDO market's going to be $1 trillion market within 10 years. Look at crypto and digital asset as not a 2-year project, not a 5-year project. Look at it as a 20-year project. When you look at the dot-com bubble, it crashed in 2003. It took 15 years to mature. This is a slow burner. We're probably in year 1 of year 20 for SDOs. Global taxonomy. Does anyone know what that means? Okay, so taxonomy means how you treat and classify assets when we're talking about regulations. We're still not there. There's still problems to solve, and there's lots of them. Again, this all leads into the fact that there's no institutional grade ecosystem. So going back to my first slide, technology should solve the problem for someone. That, at a high level, are all the problems we have in digital assets and crypto right now, and they need to be solved. So if you're interested in trying to give me some advice or insight, I'll give you my email after this session. Okay, so everyone wants a job, right, when you graduate? Yeah, it's kind of what it's all about. Where are the jobs going to be in the next 20 years, besides Capco? So, look, this is just a taste. There's obviously other areas, but the way I see things playing, machine learning is going to be huge. It is already starting. Automation is quite broad. So when we talk about automation, we can talk about robotics, we can talk about process automation. So where the process is manual. A lot of the banks at the moment, they're trying to, they do their current state analysis and they try and find their gaps and pain points. So when they talk about gaps and when they talk about pain points, what they're really talking about is where is my process manual? Where does it cost me the most man hours to basically start and complete a task? Okay, so that's all going to be automated. Yeah, so you're going to have mass job losses, and they're all going to go into these type of areas. All right, the robots are going to take over the world. Cybersecurity, how do I hack into a system which is supposed to be trustless like blockchain? Yes, it can be hacked if you have small nodes. If you look at nodes and compare nodes on Ripple, Ripple has about 20 validator nodes. Bitcoin has about 13,000 nodes. What that means, Bitcoin's far safer than Ripple. Ripple is a permissioned blockchain. Okay? Bitcoin is a public blockchain. Artificial intelligence, what does that mean? It means for the first time we have machines and systems who can make decisions for themselves autonomously. Obviously it's maturing at different rates, but again, that would be a huge market. Digital bank, we already have Revolut, we already have Monzo, we already have Starlink. How many more are we going to have? We're not sure. But those kind of startups, and they still really are startups and incubators, they have the potential to be huge. All tier 1 banks either have implemented their own digital banking solution or some kind of affiliate. So that space is going to grow enormously. In terms of your job prospects, I would say machine learning is by far, looking at statistics, which were prepared for me yesterday, 130 million jobs globally. These aren't statistics made up, this is good research. Great. Now I'm going to confuse you. Yes, question.
Hi, sorry, you showed all those industries, and those are all like the winners of the future. Which industries do you think will lose out because of that?
So don't think of industry anymore as as it is today. Think of it as a market sector more. So I have a personal view on this, and the way I see everything playing is people are going to be paid their salaries in cryptocurrency or crypto assets. And there will be no need for a financial system then, because everything is on the network, right? So when you're already seeing Japan that some salaries are getting paid in crypto, you're already seeing that retail adoption is taking off. So what that means, I don't need fiat anymore. When I say fiat, I don't need pounds, I don't need USD, because I get my salary, say it's in Bitcoin, which is not there yet, but then I can go to the shop and use Bitcoin to buy it. I don't need a fiat currency. That's the future. So it will align to that. So there won't be big banks. I don't see there being big banks. I think they're going to be broken up. Does that kind of answer your question? Okay, I'm going to be really quick on this slide. The reason I'm going to be quick on this slide is I just scanned the audience and realized that probably no one knows what I'm talking about. So when we talk about a token economy, what we really mean is, how does your ecosystem incentivize? How do you make it work in terms of the different stakeholders? always a great way to break up an ecosystem or problem is demand supply. Bit of controls never goes astray. And incentives. So incentivize your stakeholders on your ecosystem. I'm not going to go into detail on this, guys, because it's probably more institutional level slide, but just for awareness. Who's doing what in crypto right now? So the big names, we have Fidelity in America. They are about to release the digital custody solution in March. Again, does everyone remember what digital custody is? It's how you store your digital assets. It's how you handle it, safekeeping of your digital assets. The other big name coming in is the Swiss Stock Exchange. So they have a company called SIX, which is now doing digital assets, or is about to this year. So in terms of what's your future market, you know, stock exchange, basically think of the world as moving from the physical, semi-digital to the full digital world, because that's the future. Next is an interesting thing. What Next is an electronic trading platform, formerly part of ICAP, which is a global dealer broker. They have spent 2 years and £30 million trying to integrate post-trade services, and they're failing. Something like 90% of blockchain projects are failing, and I'll touch on why in a second. Tier 1 and 2 banks, they're all looking to tokenize assets. What is tokenization of assets? It comes back to the STOs. So very simply, what tokenizing means is converting an asset into tokens. Very, very simply. So if I had that monitor there, well, I could tokenize that monitor if I had a buyer on the other side. So I could issue 100 tokens on that, I could list it on an exchange, and I could sell that, even though it's worthless. That's exactly how it works, right? So there's examples now of use cases of tokenizing football stadiums. So when you tokenize a football stadium, it's the same principle. The guys want to sell it to the fans, so they think there's buyers straight away. So what they're doing is releasing equity in an illiquid asset. So you're unlocking value in an asset which is otherwise illiquid. That's the beauty of tokenization. Why can't you just buy shares? Well, yeah, you can. But tokenization opens up a much wider market. Okay? Good. How are we going for time?
10 minutes.
Good. Okay. So I touched on 90% of blockchain projects will never materialize. This research just released a few days ago. You know, it's interesting if you compare these kind of stats to these VC funding and private equity, they're very similar. So if you guys ever go out and start your own business, your chances of success are probably 5–10%. And that's true. And when I say that, that's within 5 years. So you might be successful within 2. You might do a friends and family round for 100K. But then to take it to the next step, you're going to have to do Series A, Series B, Series C funding. It's a big challenge, and that's why a lot of startups fail. And blockchain projects are no different. And then a lot of them are failing because they're not getting scale. So if anyone understands blockchain and how it works, you need scale, you need a lot of nodes. Okay? Leadership. Interesting topic. So I think with leadership, you know, I've been on the other side there watching people talk about leadership many times. I think important with leadership, it is no one proper definition. Okay? When I ask you what leadership is, or I ask you what leadership is, I'm going to get a different response. I guarantee you. If we went around this whole room, we get different responses from everyone. But there are some core type of values which I think are important. And the other key message I'd like you to take home today. So the first one you would have forgotten already. That's technology solves a problem for someone. And the second key message is, what does leadership mean to you? Yeah? Don't Google it and find out what it means to someone else. Just have a serious ponder and, you know, sit outside by the water and think about leadership and what it means to you. Okay? Don't think about, I need to do it to impress someone. Think about, I've just got to be myself. Yep. And with that, there's a few benchmarks that I compare it to. What does a boss do? So you guys haven't really worked full-time, have you? You've kind of done part-time internships, I don't know, you're probably at various stages. So whenever in your careers you get a boss that's demanding, says I a lot, takes credit for work you've done, kind of uses your skills for their advantage, that's not a leader. And that's called common sense as well, right? Yeah? I just realized it's a typo in goodwill. Okay, so yeah, I mean, they're just some ideals or values you can compare yourself to. But when I'm talking about leadership, I'm talking about it's a personal thing. Yeah? And for me, a good leader inspires and takes you on a journey. A good leader will show vulnerability, will show weakness. Yeah? A good leader will tell a good story and make you laugh. A good leader would share the journey with you. Yeah? That for me is what a leader is. And like I said, if I ask you guys, you'll probably give me a different response. But there's some basics, right? So, set a good example, behave with good deeds and good actions, and listen. All good things for a leader to have. Capco. So I've just had the 4-minute line. Okay, so Capco is a bit different to the rest. I know a lot of the consultants you'll come across and say we're different, we're better, blah, blah, blah. We are slightly different. I mean, we are an offshoot of Accenture. We are just over 20 years old. We have about 5,000 now, 5,000 employees globally. Head office is in London. 30 offices around the world or whatnot. My personal opinion of Capco is it takes on entrepreneurs. It likes people who like to own work, like to learn about leadership and really go on the journey with Capco, because Capco will support you. But it likes that entrepreneurial spirit. Because as consultants, we need to win business and we need to grow. Touched on the culture. We won a number of awards, etc., etc. If you Google it on Glassdoor, you'll get a very good understanding of Capco. Okay, so if anyone is interested in crypto, DLT, blockchain stuff, please email me. There's a landing page on Capco with all the information. There's a paper going out in the next couple of weeks, which is called the Capco Journal, which is an academic journal on financial transformation, if you're interested in. There's probably, if I had to choose an article to read there's probably one on the Bitcoin bubble and parallels to history. Interesting read, in my opinion.